finding your niche market and captivating your ideal audience. This is one of the number one problems that I see people have when they go to start selling their artwork specifically. People tend to try to sell their artwork or their prints to everybody. And that is one of the biggest failures. They typically are hoping and just throwing spaghetti against the wall and trying to see what sticks, when in reality, that's kind of a complete waste of time. And what I mean by this is that if you're trying to sell to everybody, you sell to nobody. And what ends up happening is that you don't get enough data, you don't get enough feedback loops to really understand what works and then what doesn't. So you're sitting there with a bunch of different variables that you have no idea what was a good thing that you did or what was a bad thing, especially online. You have no idea, if you get no sales, what went wrong. And so when you're going to find an audience, it's really important to dial into an audience and create that dream customer that you want to serve, and try to serve that one particular customer first, that one demographic. And then from only then can you find out whether or not that audience is relevant to the work that you're trying to sell. So when you first get into this, what's really important, and I speak about this quite often, is I always ask photographers and artists, I say, who are you? Like, what is it that you actually like doing? Coming from my background of working I went from art, corporate to art. And when I was actually in that corporate phase of going through that anxiety, that depression, and trying to overcome, like, why am I doing this? I don't enjoy my life, and there's no amount of money that would make me enjoy this corporate job. So when I go into the art world, I actually first said, okay, what do I actually like photographing? What do I like shooting? What do I like doing? And that helped me reverse engineer what was my desired niche and how was that aligned with my vision, with my mission. So if you're trying to go out there and take your camera and take pictures of everything, show all your work to everybody. You can do landscape, you can do portraits, you can do concerts, you can do humanitarian work, you can do all these different things. And what that does is create a mass amount of confusion for your potential audience. So it's very difficult with a camera to be so focused and so concentrated on becoming a master, when in reality, most people they try to become the jack of all trades and the master of none. So when you are the master of none, it's very difficult to communicate your story and to allow your audience to resonate with you as a person and with you as an artist. And therefore they don't stick around to then buy your prints, or to even consider buying your prints, or to even consider following you. So if you're posting on social media, and that's typically the main outlet or the main channel, if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, LinkedIn, if it's whatever, Pinterest, TikTok, it doesn't matter. You have to be specialized and focused, because when people go and see you, they want to make a quick snap judgment and understand that, hey, this is Claire, and Claire specializes in abstract that's based off of the emotion of being lonely and overcoming that challenge. Like, that's how quickly people need to understand who you are as an artist. So if they can't do that and they land on your page and you have a lot of quality work, you can take the best pictures of architecture ever and the best pictures of wildlife. But if you're showing them both and you're marketing them both, all it does is create a mass amount of confusion. You need to have separate channels for your individual pipelines if you actually want to sell your prints. So that's one of the core focuses when you're thinking about this, is like, if you're going to go and sell your work, first of all, what do you like doing? What is your desired niche? And then the next part of that, so that's creating the supply, you have to understand, is there actually demand for that niche? So if I'm super obsessed with ladybugs and I want to go and photograph ladybugs, and it's the best thing ever to me to go in my garden and photograph ladybugs, but there's actually no demand for prints of ladybugs, all of a sudden I have a disconnect between the supply and the demand, and it's not going to work. So what you need to do in that case is you need to understand there's that balance. There's always a balance approach. There are things that you truly love doing, but if there's no market for it, then you're just going to be beating your head against the wall. So it's really important to understand that when you're going to find your dream target audience, there needs to be fans, like fans of whatever it is that you're shooting. So if there's no Facebook groups, or if there's no magazine specifically related to ladybugs, maybe there is, I don't know, then you're going to be setting yourself up for failure. And what that often does is help refine you, and maybe you're in too deep in your niche and you can pull out a little bit further, and maybe you're photographing all bugs in general. And maybe there's someone who's super interested in buying bug photography. Okay, I'm using a very funny example to give you guys an idea. So if I'm going to go and do wildlife photography, that's pretty broad. I mean, there's African wildlife, there's small mammals, big mammals, everything in between. What that's going to do is I'm going to be a generalist, and I'm going to come across as a generalist and someone who's not as good as the specialist each and every time. So if someone's going to compare my picture of a grizzly bear and I'm running around gallivanting around the world taking pictures of all wildlife, but I haven't created any sort of niche depth, like really skilled, really beautiful, unique pieces within the grizzly bear realm, I shouldn't be bouncing around the world doing a bunch of different things. I should be focusing on that ecosystem, focusing on that region specifically to then build a name for myself. Okay. That's really important when you're building out your desired niche and your desired target audience. your desired target audience. Okay.